I love gardening and I have these like big dreams of having a cutesy, fairy, whimsical garden, but it can be kind of hard to achieve this in Australia. But over the years, I have learnt to put Pinterest aside and like figure out which Australian native plants give that energy, but are actually adapted to where I live. And this has like a few benefits because obviously they're easier to grow because they're actually adapted to living here. Second of all, they're less likely to become weeds and escape into other people's gardens, which we really don't want to do. Although I have to say some Australian native plants from different states are weeds in other states, so do be mindful of that. Anyway, also, native plants, they attract wildlife, they attract birds and bees, and if you're in WA, I've even managed to get some blue-banded bees in my backyard, which is always so exciting. So today, I thought I would share my favourite Australian native flowering plants that I think give that fairy, cottagecore, whimsical vibe that I know I've been chasing, and I'm sure other people have too. Also, if we've not met before, I'm Rose Confetti, and if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe because obviously I'm a very new creator, and that helps me out a bunch. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please pop them in the comments below. As much as I would like to be out in my garden with you right now, it is currently stormy outside, so I'm not going to do that. So instead, I've got a bunch of pictures and videos of what I have grown in my garden so far that I'm going to share with you. So first up, I lovingly call this plant a flower gun. It's the purple flag flower, and the thing that is so magical about this flower is it has these like flower capsules, and every morning, if you go outside and look at it, it like puts out a little purple flower and just opens up like a singular flower outside of these little capsules. And by the end of the day, it actually withers up and dies and you get another one the next morning. That is magic. It is so gorgeous. The flowers are beautiful and it is such a delight to go out and check and see how many have like magically appeared every morning. So fairy vibes. Another plant I recommend for maximum magic is the Geraldton wax. If you're in WA, you probably recognize this plant because it's super prolific across the state, but it is so special because the way that it flowers for months on end is fantastic. Like I love being able to go out and knowing that my Geraldton wax will be popping off. Mine's been flowering since June and it will flower until the end of summer. You can get a bunch of different colors, but mine goes from this like white, pale pink into a hot fuchsia. And so I really enjoy watching that transition of colors. On top of that, you know, my name is Rose Confetti. I love how the little flower buds on a Geraldton wax truly look like confetti or sprinkles or fairy dust like all over the plant. Just gorgeous and absolutely magical. And I do want to say with all of these plants, I highly recommend you check out your local native nursery for a few reasons. First of all, great to not have to shop at Bunnings every single time. And number two, the people who run these nurseries are usually pretty knowledgeable and pretty nice, so you can ask them lots of questions. Nurseries will have tube stock, which is basically a plant in a small tube. Like they're just like a small plant, often grown from seeds or cuttings, and there's lots of native plants that you can buy this way. These tubes are only like $5 to $7 depending on where you buy them, so it can be so cost effective if you've got a big garden to fill out, or if you're a new gardener and you're like, I don't want to invest in plants because they might die. If a $5 or $7 plant dies, it's way less devastating than the $30 plant you bought. I try to buy my tube stock in winter so then I can put it in a bigger pot and then kind of leave it to do its thing until summer. Come summer, I can kind of put it in a ground or a bigger pot wherever I think it's going to go. I bought some tube stock a couple of weeks ago and I do have to say, check if they need to be moved into a bigger pot like as soon as you get them home, because when I pulled mine out of the tubes, they were actually already quite root bound, so they clearly needed to be in a bigger pot. And I have absolutely lost plants because I just left them in the tubes and didn't plant them on quick enough. So definitely check on them. But all in all, tube stock is a really great way to get started, or even just because you want to buy bulk plants. And one of the plants I bought a couple of years ago as tube stock that has grown into a much larger plant is this coria. I think that's how you say it. This is so gorgeous. And you can't tell me these flowers don't look like fairy hats. Like every time I look at these gorgeous little tubular flowers, for me, I'm like, that's the hat I'd wear if I was a fairy, or a dress. I feel like it could be a dress as well. But yeah, it's just a beautiful plant. And this coria is like pretty unassuming. Like most of the year, I barely paid any attention. So when it does flower, it is so exciting. But a plant that does flower a lot that you're probably very familiar with, but I still recommend, is the kangaroo paw. Now, the kangaroo paw, yes, it's an icon. She's a staple. Like everyone knows it. But I think she's underappreciated, which sounds insane because yeah, everyone knows her. But But I just think the way that there are so many different colors and there are so many different sizes makes it a perfect addition for like a cottagecore garden. There are purple ones, there are blue ones, you've got the red and the green and the yellow and the orange. Like there are so many different types of kangaroo paws. Not to mention, if you want to have a little Snow White moment, they do attract a lot of birds, which is really sweet. So if you're going to do an Australian cottagecore garden, go for a kangaroo paw. Another great one that I recommend is Pimelia. For me, Pimelia is like underwater magic, maybe Little Mermaid energy. Like there's something about the dome shape and the way that it moves in the wind and the little leaves. It kind of reminds me of coral. Just beautiful, honestly. Mine's been pretty hardy and it has flowered for so long, like months and months and months on end. And the little flowers, they're like tiny little flowers all arranged into like a bigger flower head. They're really special. Again, a bunch of different colors. So definitely recommend the Pimelia. My final recommendation is Boronia, and I have a bone to pick with Boronia because I love them so much. They smell like nothing else. I just love the smell of Boronia. It's like sweet but not too sweet. I don't know. And you can smell it from like a mile away. It's gorgeous. Mine died recently and I was really, really sad about it. I had a Boronia mega stigma, which I think is like the classic Boronia in my eyes. And mine did die, but I bought some tube stock recently. So I'm hoping to have a new Boronia next spring. But Boronias are great because they're another one of those ones that are unassuming and then they flower and is such a treat. The little circular 4-petal bell flowers are so cute, like little fairy hat vibes. And again, lots of colors. It's just a really classic, pretty, dainty flower that I think you should invest in. You know, mine did die and they can be quite like challenging to grow, or at least that's my experience. But I think it is worth giving it a go, especially if you can get some tube stock, because then it doesn't matter too much if you only spent like $7 on it. If you want spring flowers, go and put in the work now. I know it's hard because it's raining, but if you pick a day that isn't raining and it's just cool weather, I quite like gardening in winter. Like you're in your trackies, you're not worried about getting sunburn. It can be a really nice way to spend a cooler but not wet winter's day. And I do just think if you put in the investment now, you don't have to water them as much because of the rain. And by spring, you'll have these flowers that are somewhat established and the plant will actually put in the energy to flower. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh gosh, gardening's like not my thing, it's kind of scary, but I do really want a nice garden, can I just say the thing that changed it for me was getting a good pair of gloves. It's both for like, I don't know, I have some sensory issues. I don't really like the feeling of dirt all over my hands, and I really like having my nails done. So getting a good set of gloves was a game changer. Your hands aren't getting as dirty, you're not getting dirt under your nails, and it just makes doing the job less intimidating. I don't know why, but it just does. That plus a good podcast in my like AirPods and I'm set. Like I'll have a good gardening day. So if you're feeling intimidated, hopefully those tips will help you get over the line and actually, get out there and garden. I can't recommend it enough. They are all my suggestions for this week. Please let me know if you have any to add in the comments below or any questions, or if you enjoyed gardening content, because I do enjoy talking about plants. So if you want to hear more, please let me know. I'll be back next time with another video. Maybe it'll be pop culture, maybe it'll be gardening. Who knows? It'll just be whatever's on my mind, I guess. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.